Before you choose your thoughts, choose your emotion. Before you choose your thoughts, choose your emotions. Choose the emotion that you want to feel, and then choose a thought that matches the emotion. We don't do that. Most of us don't do that. Most of the time we don't do that. Most of the time what we do is we just keep thinking thoughts. And thoughts are on a trajectory, you see. Whatever thought you were thinking before is generating the next one. So you have to make a conscious decision to switch out of that train of thoughts and get onto a different train. But if you decide that you're going to choose your emotion first, then you're not on a train of thought by default. You pick the train. Thank you, Tamika, for putting that in the chat. Right? So guys, choose the emotion you want to feel. And don't choose an emotion that is very far from where you are on the emotional scale. Because as we do this work, we know that there are different steps going up the ladder of the emotional scale. If you're right at the bottom rung, you cannot jump onto the top rung. Just go one step at a time up the ladder. So if I'm right down in depression, the next thought I want to think, the way I want to feel is what is going to determine the next thought I want to think. I know I don't want to stay in depression. So how can I go up? What is the next emotion I want to feel? In depression, the feeling, the emotion is powerlessness. I feel powerless. What is above that? Above that is guilt. Above that is blame. So if I am feeling powerless, I'm feeling like nothing's going to change. The next thing to do is to focus on how did I bring this about? Taking ownership. I want to feel that I had a role in this. That's what guilt is. I created this. Acceptance. Acceptance of what you created at a lower place on the emotional scale. That's what guilt is. So from powerlessness, from depression, look for the emotion of guilt. What is a thought that corresponds to it? Well, guilt is, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't said that. Now, you've picked a thought that gives you the emotion that you want to feel. So you've gone up the emotional scale. Then the next thing you do is you say, okay, if I want to go higher than this, what's the next emotion after this is blame. Okay, what's a thought that I can think just now where I can blame someone else for what's happened? Well, if they hadn't done this, then I wouldn't have had to respond with that. So you think a thought that helps you to feel the emotion. You pick the emotion first. Pick the emotion first and then pick the thought. You're now at a place of blame. You know you can go higher. There's a deliciousness in blaming people, but you know you're not high on the emotional scale. You're not feeling love for someone when you blame them. So you know you're not at a place of love and joy. So what's the next thing you do? You can go to revenge, you can go to anger, and if you keep going, you will cross the worry line. And now you'll start feeling your power, right? So it's really powerful if you pick the emotion first. And if you're going to pick the emotion first, you've got to know where you are. You've got to do that check-in to say, how do I feel? And the first check-in you do is to ask yourself, do I feel like I'm in the top half of the emotional scale or the bottom half of the emotional scale? Which half of the emotional scale am I on? Oh, I know for sure I'm not in the top half. I'm not feeling that good. Okay, so now I know that I'm in the bottom half. Where exactly am I on the bottom half? Am I feeling fear? Am I feeling anger? What am I feeling? Once I know what I am feeling, now I can pick the next feeling. Right? Pick the feeling first, then go look for a thought that corresponds to that feeling. And keep going. Keep going one step at a time up the emotional scale. Isn't that good to know? Emotions first, because our objective, our target, our goal is the emotion. It's not the thought. Thoughts are important because they help us to generate the emotion that we want to feel. And that is so important to know. All right, guys, that's basically everything I want to say to you today. But doesn't it make so much sense? Isn't it far easier to think about it that way? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right.